What does he even mean by that?
I'm guessing like a good,
Like they weren't
good
hot
sex.
or they weren't good at sex? They didn't
I'm guessing they weren't good at
they weren't
sex.
enjoying it with him?
I mean, some women just lay there.
Okay, moving on.
Finally watched. I finally watched. I finally watched. I finally watched. I finally watched.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon, and I finally watched Killing Them Softly.
So last month I watched Hell or High Water, which spoiler alert will be the next episode that we do. And it reminded me a lot of Killing Them Softly. And I think the reason why is they are both movies with this subtext of how fucked America was. Like, so this movie takes place right at the end of the second George W. term, right when Obama's coming in. This is right at the time of the financial crisis. And this movie really hits you over the head with like sound clips of George W., of Barack, and you have even the Brad Pitt character sort of speaking at Barack, like talking back to Obama, like his speeches, like talking to Richard Jenkins, but talking about him like, oh, this, everything he's saying, all this hope it's all bullshit. And the movie came out like 2012. And then I was reminded, Hell or High Water reminded me of that too, because that movie, when I watched it last month, is so much about like how like lower and middle class people are sort of fucked. And I mean, a little over a decade later, it feels worse. It feels like those were like good times that I wish we could go back to. But yeah, so I think these movies have a lot in common, so I kind of wanted to do them back to back. And Killing Them Softly is a movie that when I talked to you before we started recording, you're like, I thought it was okay. It was good, but it wasn't what I expected. And to me, it's one that I've gone back to a lot that has really grown on me. And this time when I watched it, it was like, I love this movie.
So, back to what you were saying about like the period that this movie was set in really reminded me of 25th Hour in a lot of ways, kind of being set around a certain time period. For that movie, it was 9/11, and for this movie, it was like you said, the ending of Bush's term, the beginning of Obama's. And it's like it's funny, and I think we're getting to more of a social acceptance now in today's society to just hate all politicians. Like, I think there's less of a I'm blue, you're red, I'm Republican, liberal, conservative, yada yada yada, and being like it's us versus them sort of thing. And
Okay.
and this movie, us being the citizens, them being the politicians, just to be just to be clear.
Well,
And this movie, I feel
and
like,
the uber rich.
and the uber rich, of course. And I feel like that this movie, especially like you said, Brad Pitt's monologue, was kind of pushing that thought process. And I don't think it's a thought process that many Americans had back in, what was it, 2008? Something
But
like that?
I think the financial crisis sort of started that too. Not started it, but like reinvigorated it maybe. Like it's obviously things ebb and flow, but
Sure.
it's like when that happened, people like, why are we bailing out these banks? And the the rhetoric from politicians, which is obviously probably true, right, is that if you let these banks fail, it would be like a global collapse, right?
Right. Well, like Brad Pitt was saying, Obama's speech about we're a community, we're all in this together. A fucking High School Musical here. It's like, yeah, but not really. Like you're gonna be okay, Barack. You're gonna be okay, Bush, Rockefeller. In this case, Trump, Kennedys, yada yada yada. The Kardashians are gonna
These
be
are the-
okay.
It's funny the rich people who you could come up with. You're like Rockefeller.
Rockefeller. I did say the Kardashians. You know,
Eventually.
they're gonna be okay, and it's just funny how easily. I guess I'm just getting to. It's funny how easily the American people can be tricked into thinking for a split second that they actually care about you. Anyways, I digress. That's my political statement of the week.
It's too is this movie. So this I think came out in 2012 is what it says. I think The Big Short came out the year before this, so this was obviously something that Brad Pitt like wanted to talk about, like wanted to go over. And it's also funny that you have like this crime syndicate is like a microcosm of like the US through that time, where he's like, yeah, it's like all these fuckers don't know what they're doing. They got their thumbs up their asses. They're all real tight with money right now, just like everyone is, because, of the financial crisis, right? So they're like, oh, they don't, they can only give you 10 per hit instead of the 15 they owe you. It is just like that aspect of it is funny. But even if you don't get into any of that, to me, it's just like it's like you said, it's a contained movie, but it's just like, I really enjoy it. It's one too where it's like you're given a little bit of hope with characters here and there. I don't even know if you give a shit about any of these characters, right? I think in the end, you're given a little hope that, oh, maybe Scoot McNairy can get out of this.
Yeah, but I was thinking about this while watching the movie because I couldn't come up with a reason on why Pitt would let McNairy go at the end. And I'm like, I don't know why he's feeding him all this hopeful bullshit about like, oh yeah, when we get back to the car, you'll, go your way, I'll go mine. And I'm like, but why would he do that? Like there was no reason in that case on why that would happen. More so, why do I care
Right.
of what happens to anyone in this movie? I mean, literally Ray Liotta, McNairy, Mendelsohn, even Pitt. I was just like, they're all horrible people. They could literally get their brains blown out. And why would I care? And I think the only time that I gained the tiniest bit of sympathy for McNairy's character is he's the only one in the movie that feels like a real person. Like a person who's kind of down on his luck. You could almost imagine the kind of bad shit that would happen to him that would force him to be in this situation, and almost convinces you that it's not his fault on the bad things he's done.
What's funny is I think one of the most, I don't know, you can't say likable, but just like the character that I don't know that I'm like, I was happy, I guess, that he sort of made it out a little bit was Ben Mendelsohn's.
Really?
A couple things off the top is this features two just kind of crazy like accents for our two like main characters we're introduced in the beginning. One real, just Ben Mendelsohn's real, and then I don't know what the fuck Scoot McNairy is doing with his voice.
Yeah, he's doing kind of like a squeaky, like slimy, ratty kind of guy.
It's almost like they're like, hey, do your best Casey Affleck impression, but he's really animated the whole
That's
time.
not bad. How were you first introduced to Ben Mendelsohn?
Animal Kingdom.
Okay. That is not my first introduction to him. My first introduction to him was when he played brothers alongside Kyle Chandler in Netflix's Bloodlines.
Okay.
That was my first introduction to him. And I'll tell you what, dude. What a fucking fantastic introduction to that actor. First of all,
was that before Rogue One?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I remember watching Rogue One in theaters and being like, holy fuck, that's the guy from Bloodline. The characters that Ben plays are, I want to say, almost always the slimiest fucking scum of the earth kind of people. And in Bloodline, he plays this like the black sheep of the family, the outcasted brother who kind of comes back and fucks everything up for the family.
Right.
But I mean, he's that again in Animal Kingdom, right?
He is so subtly pure evil in that fucking movie.
He is a fucking slimy sweat ball in this thing.
So fucking pasty.
So wet. Oh.
So
And then,
moist.
and then in Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
He's a bad guy. The only time I ever saw him that was like, oh, actually, he's not a bad person is in Captain Marvel when he plays like the head Skrull, which
But
was a really good subversion of character because you're supposed to believe that the Skrulls are bad. He's playing a Skrull, so now you being familiar with characters that he's played, thinking, oh, they're really bad, and turn it on its head. It's like, oh, they're actually the good guys. That was a great way to do that. But in this movie, he wasn't so much bad because in the other ones like Bloodline and Animal Kingdom, he's also very conniving and smart in his play.
right.
Like you said, pure evil. In this one, he's just a fucking moron drug addict.
So the first time I saw him was in Australia, apparently, the movie. Because that came out in 2008. I don't remember.
Shit. Well, then maybe that is the first time I saw him. I just didn't recognize him.
Yeah, like I've said this all the time. Like, there's the time you see someone, and there's the time you like clock them as like, oh shit, like, and you like, oh, I'm gonna like recognize that guy every time I see him. So it is funny, like you talk about like the subversion of that character, right? Because
Of his character in Captain Marvel?
correct,
Yeah.
because right around that time, so he does Rogue One, he does Bloodline, Ready Player One. I'm pretty sure he's a bad guy.
I thought he was just kind of like the partner of the guy. I don't know.
Or maybe I'm
But
wrong.
also, you know who plays the actual bad guy in Captain Marvel is Jude Law, who is usually the good guy in things.
But then Robin Hood, he's the sheriff of Nottingham, which is like one of the ultimate
Trope
literary bad guys.
You know who else was the sheriff of Nottingham in a Robin Hood adaptation? Alan Rickman.
You saying Rick threw me off. Like,
yeah, it threw me off too. But yeah, Alan Rickman, who, of course, essentially is Snape, and that's, the ultimate subversion of character right there.
I have the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves arrows in the mail.
Ooh, nice.
Gonna be here soon.
That's
So
Kevin
that was
Costner, right?
Yeah, that was a UK exclusive for a long time, and was super expensive because it was out of print, like the limited edition version.
I want that and the Excalibur.
The Excalibur is just available at any point you want to grab
I know.
it.
I'm just saving up, man.
You gotta wait for the Barnes and Noble sale. So we already talked about the voices and how disgusting Ben Mendelsohn looked. I was reading some of the fun facts, and I kind of want to do them now, just a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So Lynera Washington is the only woman both seen and heard in the movie, and she's the hooker. So this is a movie for men, like with basically only men and for men, I guess. But
so you're saying it fails it fails that test for like two women talking, but they can't. Yeah.
I mean, this fails it spectacularly. There's only one in it.
Yeah.
She is fucking amazing though. Like, I love Gandolfini going at her and like, you talk to a man like that, he might cut you up or carve you up, and she's like, "Would I come then?" Which is just fucking so good.
I think she dies off screen, right? Because off screen they mention how Gandolfini's character ends up killing a hooker.
No, he got into it with a hooker, but that was the whole thing Brad Pitt planned. So that was like Brad Pitt talks to Richard Jenkins, and he's like, "I want to get him out of here. He's going to fight. He's going to get in a fight with a hooker at a hotel that don't like fighting hookers." Is kind of what he says. So they hired a hooker to get into a fight with him so that he would get arrested and get sent out of there. Because Brad Pitt, as he said, he like doesn't like to get involved with people he knows, doesn't like to kill people that he knows. He likes to kill them softly, which is the name of the movie.
When Gandolfini, when we're introduced to his character and he walks down the airport, uh, not the runway, but the what's it called? The connector that connects the airplane to the
I know.
airport building.
Yeah, I can't think of the name because you've asked me. I knew it.
When we see him there, this is another one of those movies where you're like, oh shit, it's fucking Tony Soprano. You
It's
know?
funny. He plays a guy in this who wanted to be Tony Soprano, but like didn't get to do it, and now he's like lamenting his life. It's the jet bridge, by the way, the passenger
Yes.
boarding bridge.
Yes, the jet bridge. Thank you. No, exactly. Exactly. He's like a wannabe Tony Soprano being played by Tony Soprano. And it is kind of like, it is the funniest thing watching him be a spectacular fuck up, which is not what you want to see out of Gandolfini's character.
But and here's the thing about this movie too is you're getting like Pitt maybe has the flashiest performance, but you're getting an amazing Gandolfini performance, a really great Ray Liotta performance.
Surprisingly.
Like there's certain parts in this where Liotta is like giving some of his best stuff just with his facial expressions. And we'll talk about when we get to it.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to say is we can do a lot of these later. This says set in and around Boston, Massachusetts, filmed entirely in Louisiana. This never mentions Boston, but it looks nothing like Boston and it looks very much like Louisiana. I don't know like what the thought process of that was because at one point he does say I came up from Maryland, right? So then yeah, obviously it's in the Northeast, but it does not look like they barely fucking tried to make this look like anything but Louisiana.
Yeah, but it doesn't really focus on anything much either. Like most of the shots are either if they're outside, they're really close to the buildings that they're outside of, or they're inside set pieces.
There's some far off shots though, so they didn't even do like outside shots, establishing shots in Boston. They're just like, no, it's just all be filmed here. And it's a small budget movie, it makes sense, but it just to me, it just have it filmed in New Orleans, like just change the story a little bit. I mean, the only thing you really need is you need a place where like organized crime is like big. So I mean that's the only part of it. I think we can get started. This starts with Ben Mendelsohn's character, the grossest human being, and Scoot McNairy getting offered a job from this guy named Squirrel. And it's so funny because Johnny, who's called the Squirrel, knows he shouldn't hire Ben Mendelsohn for this job. Absolutely knows it is a dumb idea, that it's going to bite him in the ass. And even says, last time I did 7 years because I hired the wrong guy. I'm not going to do it again. And then he gets convinced by Scoot to hire the wrong guy. And it doesn't exactly go wrong in the way you think, because eventually the way it goes wrong that they get caught is Ben, whose name is Russell in the movie, gets fucked up on drugs and confesses to a guy that is friends with Dylan, who is like the main fixer for these bad guys, right? Like he's
Yep.
and this isn't a hitman movie, it's a fixer movie kind of that is a hitman, which, but it's just funny. This establishing scene is so well done for this character, Johnny, of like, I shouldn't hire this guy. This is so fucking stupid to hire this guy. I'm not going to hire this guy. And then he ends up hiring him.
Well, you see that coming a mile away, right?
Right.
And also how it like blows back to everyone. I mean, I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to remember what gave them away. Oh, it was yes, that's right. It was Ben Mendelsohn's character.
He talked to the guy named Kenny, who has been in another movie we've done. Do you remember it?
No.
He is one of the 4 bank robbers in the town.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, I can do a pinch. So after this, I love the scene where Ben Mendelsohn comes back. He's like, I have this girl I can fuck. Do I fuck this girl or do I talk with the squirrel? And Scoot's like, what kind of girl can you fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Like, have you seen the way you look? And their little back and forth. this is an hour and 37-minute movie that there's kind of so little action. It's such like a small story
Yeah.
that they can really sit in these like humanizing scenes to like really tell you what these people are about. But the scene where they talk about Russell and Scoot McNairy's character know each other from jail, Ben Mendelsohn and Scoot McNairy. And he's like talking about how you fucked the guy named Godass in jail because he's like, oh, I had to find a nice, clean older man. And he's like, you think Godass was clean?
He goes, if you can't find a clean older man, then you find a dirty older man.
And then he's like, and from what I've heard, you don't fuck a dog because from what I've heard, they nip. And it's just like, you guys are so fucking disgusting.
Well, when he's talking about women, it's fucking disgusting. He's like, yeah, that girl has a face that you wouldn't even rape her.
Oh my god!
And I'm
And then
I'm like, dude, Jesus Christ.
well, and then he's like, yeah, I had sex with her, and then afterwards you're just like, I'm gonna kill myself. And Scoot McNairy's like, yeah, but they all say that. And Ben Mendelsohn looks at him like, oh, okay.
It's funny because after the rape comment, that's when I noticed how sweaty Ben Mendelsohn's character always was, because it was just kind of like that inner however bad you are inside, you don't necessarily look that bad on the outside, but he looks as bad as he is on the outside as he is on the inside.
That's the drugs. Well, I didn't talk about at the top. This is a Weinstein movie because you see the logo at the beginning, and I was
Weinstein?
just like, yeah, Weinstein. Okay, fuck. And I'm just surprised he didn't rename this movie like Hitmen or Gangsters, given for his penchant for just giving like really shitty generic titles for movies.
Apparently, allegedly, okay,
He's a bad guy.
he's a bad guy. No, allegedly, he gives really shitty advice as a producer.
Yeah, I can see that. But then he just rigs the awards so his movies do well. When we get to the robbery scene, this is such a tense scene. And the part that I was talking about with Liotta's acting is he walks out, like they've already kind of stuck up the place and they don't see where Ray Liotta is. They open this door and he's standing there. He comes out of like the bathroom or something. And you can just see in his face that he's like, oh fuck. He immediately is like, this is going to blow back on me because I told them before that I did this before. And then he's looking at these guys. He's like, oh, these guys are fucking suck at this. These guys are newbies. And it's just, I don't know. It's such good facial acting from him.
Yeah.
And then he tries to get Ben to turn on Scoot. And I don't know if I've ever noticed this before, but you think of Scoot as the brains of this, right? But he's talking with this weird fucking accent that he has that no one else talks like. Ben Mendelsohn's like, I'm Australian. I can't talk at all. And they're going to be able to place me as the one Australian guy like in this area or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
he doesn't say a fucking word the entire time.
Well, another thing I noticed, or actually another thing that I thought was going to happen, is because they were so weary about Ben Mendelsohn's character Russell being a part of this, right?
Right.
And because on screen, Scoot McNairy never tells Russell, or you don't even hear Squirrel tell Russell about the Ray Liotta backstory.
Right.
So I'm wondering, I'm tense, by the way, this entire fucking scene where they're holding up the poker game. I'm sweating bullets. I had to pause and kind of like jump around a little bit just to make sure there wasn't going to be a head blown off in a second. I was like really tense throughout that whole scene. But I was curious because the way I saw it kind of going down is Ben Mendelsohn gets an itchy trigger finger, blows Ray Liotta's head off, and then there's no one to blame it on.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I was just like, they end it with taking everyone's cash out of their wallets. And I'm just waiting for something like that to go down, like waiting for something to go wrong. And then it goes off without a hitch. Everything goes off without a hitch. Everything is fine. Brad Pitt comes into town, gets hired to kill Ray Liotta. And I'm thinking, oh shit, they got away with it.
Right. Well,
And then
so
it's the fucking they get high and Russell reveals that he told Kenny. Yeah.
back to the thing. So you're in this scene. Ray Liotta gives them the money. They open. It's like, this is the money. They could walk out right there. And then Scoot's like, no, I want all this. I want like an extra $2,000 from these guys' pockets, whatever they happen to have on. Probably not. I mean, it could be some money, but it didn't look like a lot, right? And then you see the one guy at the end of the table reaching for something, like reaching for what you think is a gun.
Yeah.
This whole time, it does a really great job of building tension. The camera work. So this is Andrew Dominic's second movie, or no, third movie, but it almost felt a little bit like, actually, probably even more. No, second movie. So he did Chopper, The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford, and then Killing Them Softly. Those were his first three. And then he did Blonde, which was not highly received. But anyway, it almost felt like someone's first movie, right? Where they're pulling out all the tricks.
Especially with that Ray Liotta beat up scene, because the lighting was used like a fucking. It felt like a flash camera that was constantly on.
Yeah.
The way that Ray Liotta's face was lit as he was getting the shit beat out of him, it was. I'm like, is this a bad movie? I'm like, is this bad cinematography? And if it is, why is it working so well in this scene?
Yeah, he makes a bunch of choices as a director, and I don't know, man, I guess is that the cinematographer maybe that is making those choices
It's both.
that
It's a collab.
to me all worked. Like he does this very like intricate slow mo when Ray Liotta gets killed later, and like from the bullet's perspective, and then Ray Liotta getting hit, and then twists to this perspective of the car as like another car hits it, another car hits it, and this is all in slow motion. So it's like it turns out to be like a 3 or 4 minute scene, what probably took like 15 seconds in real time.
Yeah, but also like the mix of slow mo and CGI, because there's no way you're getting that close to a gun as it's cocking, and then you see the bullets getting loaded in. I mean, that is like a really good mixture of actual camera work and then CGI,
And it looks good.
and it
But
looks good.
so at the end of this robbery, you have Ben Mendelsohn running out, and the camera follows him from behind him and then from in front of him, and just leaves Scoot back there. And then the camera cuts back to Scoot and him coming out. And the whole time I'm like, oh, one of these guys is going to chase them down. And then like nothing happens.
Yeah.
There's also
Or I
like
thought Ben Mendelsohn was going to wait around the corner for Scoot to come around the corner and then blow his head off.
I also kept expecting a scene where like someone is chased in a car in the snow. But I'm pretty sure that might be Fargo or something else I'm getting confused with, that I kept
Okay.
expecting that scene. So they get away with it. And then Brad Pitt's introduced. Brad Pitt's introduced like 24 minutes in, like so almost a third
He's
of the way
introduced
through.
with the most famous Johnny Cash song ever.
Well, when the man comes around.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a very much on the nose, but also very cool.
it is very cool. I mean, Brad Pitt is very cool. I'm actually kind of like, it kind of broke my thinking like how realistic is this movie, because no one ever said like, hey, you're like really good looking. Like
So, by the way,
whenever Brad Pitt's in a movie and no one mentions how like extremely good looking he is, I'm like, it's not a real movie.
so this movie only had a $15 million budget, but like, bringing that up for obviously because of the CGI that we talked about earlier. So Pitt immediately is like, listen, I know Ray didn't do it. And the guy's like, okay, so we don't have to do anything to Ray. And he's like, no, we got to kill him. And the guy's like, no, really, we just want you to beat him up. And he's like, why do you got to beat him up? You're going to have to kill him. And it is funny. You sort of get Pitt explaining to Richard Jenkins in real time. He's like, this is why we have to kill him. And Richard Jenkins is not understanding it. And then doesn't understand it again until he explains. He's like, oh, yeah, the public angle. We got to kill him because the public, because the games, because really what we care about are the games are not happening right now. We need the gambling to come back. But it's just funny. He like keeps explaining it to him. And then he's like, what's happening with these guys? So he's like, it's run by committee. He's like, it's like retarded children. Like that's just it's terrible. I guess maybe like the main guy must have died, and so it's like a power vacuum
No,
of
it's
like
like the
who's
mob, right? It's a
yeah.
mob power vacuum. Yeah.
So then the next scene is Ray getting the shit beat out of him, and these guys waiting for him. They know Ray Liotta. They're probably like friendly with him, and they're like, oh, "Fuck, he's gonna make this difficult for us." And then he's like, "Get in the car! I told you he was gonna make this difficult for us." And it is like a very rough scene where you really feel him getting punched in the face, and then the shit kicked out of him. And then afterwards, they're like, "Yeah, they broke his jaw." And he's like, "Sorry."
And
It's
something
like,
up with his
"Sorry about that."
spleen,
Yeah, it almost
like
ruptured.
ruptured his spleen. I was talking to you about how this seems like a Ray Liotta like farewell tour almost. The thing is though, it's like, Ray Liotta was the front and center man for a lot of these mob movies. The most famous one being Goodfellas, obviously.
Right.
By the way, he laughs in this the same way he laughs in Goodfellas. And we
Not
made fun of
exactly.
his laugh in Goodfellas. But a lot of older actors coming out of retirement or in their older age, and they were in a lot of action-y movies. They did a lot of action themselves. Like, for example, Bruce Willis, action star. And then when he was in movies, when he was older and he couldn't move around as much, they kind of were like, hey, we still want the star power of Bruce Willis, but you're just going to sit in this chair, right?
Okay.
I thought we were kind of getting that from Ray Liotta in this. And I was pleasantly surprised how much Ray Liotta actually did in this movie.
I want to be clear. This movie came out 10 years before Ray Liotta died. He did like 20 movies in between that and his death.
I was just saying what it felt like it was going to be,
That's just
and then
'cause
what
of
it
when you
actually ended
saw
up
it.
being.
That's just because you saw it later. So this is like a 2026 movie to you somehow. He had 3 movies that came out the year after his death. Dangerous Waters I've never heard of. Fool's Paradise I have, and then Cocaine Bear was one of his last movies.
Man, way to go out
That's
on
the legacy.
Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, that's the legacy you want to leave. So, R.I.P. So then after he gets the shit kicked out of him, Pitt goes back and he's explaining that Russell, he knows it's 2 guys because the Russell guy told Kenny, and he's like, and Kenny's such a dumb fuck, he told me. And he's like, well, we got to kill Ray Liotta. And then he's like, and we need to hire Mickey to kill this other guy. He's like, why can't you kill him? He's like, because I know him. I just can't do it. People get emotional. So he's like, how much can we get Mickey for? 10? And he's like, no, it's got to be 15. He's like, all right, but he has to fly coach up here.
Okay, so wait, who is the one that Brad Pitt knows?
He knows Johnny, the squirrel, the guy that put the plan together.
And he ends up having to kill him anyways.
He ends up having to kill him anyway. They brought up James Gandolfini just to fuck hookers and get drunk.
Hey, you know what? If you're going to bring in Tony Soprano, you're going to bring him in for that, okay?
So we're introduced to Mickey. He's immediately like a complete asshole to this waiter. And he's like, where'd you go? Across the street for this drink? And then he chugs Pitt's beer, and the guy comes back and brings him another drink. He's like, you didn't bring him a beer? He's like, well, he didn't ask for one. He's like, yeah, but I'm drinking his beer. And Pitt's like, I don't give a fuck about this. Like, stop harassing this guy.
He's just looking for a fight, man.
And then he's like, asks him if he wants to do the double. And he's like, no, I really shouldn't be up here more than I need to be. Cut to 3 days later after he's just hookers and beer and probably drugs. It's just, yeah, he's a shithead. In between that scene, that when we go back to the hotel with him, we get the killing Ray scene, which we've already talked about. Just the slow-mo, the old-timey music. It's a very well done scene. It's shot very interestingly.
Yeah.
Then we go back to Mickey, and it's funny. So he yells at the hooker yells back at him. It's great. Then he's like, there's no ash like a young Jewish hooker. When a guy says, I haven't had a piece of ass, like a real piece of ass since like this time, like he's like, I haven't had a real piece of ass since Florida. It's like, what does he even mean? What does he even mean by that?
I'm guessing like a good
like they weren't
good
hot
sex.
or they weren't good at sex. They didn't.
I'm guessing they weren't good at sex.
They weren't enjoying it with him.
I mean, some women just lay there.
Okay, moving on. So then he's like, Brad Pitt's like, that's it. You need to fucking stay here, go to sleep, 5 hours. He's like, I don't take fucking orders from you. And he's like, shut the fuck up, go to sleep. He's like, or I'll call the cops on you myself. And then this is when he gets him, a hooker to fight with him. And then we find out Russell gets pinched for drugs, which is in most circumstances like the worst day of your life, right? And for this guy, it saves his life.
Big time.
Yeah.
Wait, who tips him off?
I just think he's a guy that looks like he's on drugs that's dropping off fucking paper bags into a thing. I don't know. To me, it's not one of those like, oh, how does that happen? That's a plot hole. It's like, I don't know. Just fucking look at the guy.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. It's just, it is funny how, just this tremendous stroke of luck. And I like how we just see him get arrested and we just never visit that back again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's left the story. So then Pitt goes to Scoot, and this is such a good scene where he's like, first of all, as he's walking in the bar, there's this guy in the background yelling at people. He just gets fucking murdered, and the guys run off. And Pitt doesn't even look back, doesn't blink an eye, just keeps walking.
Yeah.
And so he goes in and starts talking to Scoot, immediately makes him aware of who he is. And he's like, I need to know where Johnny's going to be tomorrow night. And he's like, your friends want you to have a second chance. And he says, who the fuck are you? He's like, oh, you don't know who I am. Well, Dylan knows who I am. And you can see Scoot like almost pisses himself when he mentions Dylan.
Yeah.
This character that we barely meet. We see him in like, so one thing I read is like that he's only in 6 minutes of the movie. But I was like, from what I saw, he's in it for like 30 fucking seconds. It's Sam Shepard when him and the guy that plays Kenny rough up Ray Liotta in the beginning. That's the only time I remember him in the movie, and that felt like 30 seconds. So Scoot starts crying, and then he's like, very few guys have this option to like basically save your life. And he's like, he says, I don't know if I can do this. And Brad Pitt's like, well, can you do the other thing? The other thing is, can you die?
Yeah, right.
So those are the choices. I think it's really great writing the way he talks, because it's like sort of supposed to be like, oh, look how well I wrote this. But I think it just works, right? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just like,
well, he
really
has to keep this certain vagueness about what he does, because anything too, I mean, you're a lawyer. What is it called? Like anything too blatant could be easily used against him.
I mean, he's going to kill this guy. I don't think that matters.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't know if he's being recorded,
I guess maybe that is the point of it. I just like it. So then they have stakeout. He's like talking to him very normally, like, hey, like you're going to like letting him think like you're going to live. And then as he sees Johnny, because he's like, does Johnny fucker? He's like, how long is Johnny going to be in there? And he's like, how the fuck would I know? He's like, all right, I guess I got to ask you directly. Does he fuck her here or does he fuck her somewhere else? And he's like, oh, she's a roommate. He's like, thank you. And then he takes his keys. He's like, what are you taking your keys? I was going to start the car. He's like, yeah, a lot of guys in this situation would start the car and leave a little too early. So like, I don't trust you. Which
so good.
It is like, Scoot, get the fuck out of town. Just leave town.
Well, that's what I thought they were giving him a chance to do.
Yeah. So kills Johnny. Scoot's driving too fast. So he's like, you fucking drive. And then he's like, remember what you're going to do with the car. What you're going to do with the car. He's like, I know, I got it. And then he like leans into the car one last time. So what are you going to do with the car? And just shoots him. And shoots him a lot. Not just like he shoots him in the head. He's already dead. But he's like, no, I got to make sure you're dead.
I think it's also like, what's it called? Isn't it called a mob hit? Or it's like 2 in the head, 1 in the chest sort of thing. I mean, this was like 4 in the head, 5 in the chest, 10 in the legs, But I think he wanted to make it look like, what do you want to make it look like? Something hateful, some revenge ploy, maybe like some sort of mob hit. But yeah.
Yeah. And so then we get the final scene, a really cool shot of Pitt walking through the fireworks, which I guess this is celebrating like Barack Obama's win, right? Like this is probably election night. he meets Jenkins. And he's like, "You only gave me 30,000." He's like, "Yeah, that's 10 apiece for session prices." And then we get like a pretty good. It's not necessarily just like a full monologue, but him going off, and he's like, "This is a business of relationships," is what Jenkins says to him. And he's like, "Yeah, relationships." And he's like, "And everyone loved Marky." Basically, like, yeah, it's relationships until you fucking kill a guy. And then you get the Obama speech about community. He's like, "America isn't a community. It's like everyone's on their own. America's a fucking business. Now pay me my fucking money," and fade to black. I don't know. I just think for such a simple movie, like maybe you could say like it's trying to hammer this point over your head a little too. I just thought it was really good. And it's
It
also like
doesn't really feel like a Brad Pitt movie though, because he's usually in these like big, grandiose sort of things. So to see him in something so small and contained is different.
Yep. Yeah. And I just think, I don't know. It's like, I think it's, as you said, you're like, there's a lot of decisions in the movie that like, oh, was this a bad movie? And it's like, no, they just all work for me. So I really like it.
I liked it too. It's not what I expected. I don't know what I expected. I don't know why I kind of thought this was going to be a Western. I really walked into this completely blind, which
Well, I
is
think
good.
because I compared it to Hell or High Water, maybe that messed your.
Well, I was going to ask, is Hell or High Water a Western?
It takes place in the West.
In the
I
Wild
think
West?
it takes place in Texas, and you have cowboy hats. So
Okay, well, that's good enough for me. But you know what? I ended up liking it. I am interested. Maybe like I'll wait a little bit to watch it again, but I'll watch it again. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's one of those that'll just keep growing on me.
So, Mark Ruffalo, Sam Rockwell, and Javier Bardem were considered for various roles.
When you said Mark Ruffalo, I can see the rest of them fitting perfectly fine into this movie. When you said Mark Ruffalo, I was like thinking, like, who the fuck would he play? There's no way that Mark Ruffalo would be good in this. And then I think of his role in Collateral, and I was like, yeah, Collateral Mark Ruffalo would be excellent in this movie.
It's just interesting, like, so Sam Rockwell could play the Ben Mendelsohn part, right?
100%. He could also play the Scoot McNairy part.
Correct. Javier Bardem is like, is there a part big enough for him? I think the squirrel part is like a part he could play if he wants a very small part in the movie.
The Ray Liotta part?
He could play the Ray Liotta part. I also think Mark Ruffalo could do the Ray Liotta part. The two guys that beat the shit out of Ray Liotta are kind of smaller parts.
Yeah.
Javier Bardem could have played the Sam Shepard role, but that's once again the thing I'm kind of getting at is like there's
Javier Bardem could have played the Gandolfini role.
Yeah, so I think all of them could have played that, right? Sam Rockwell especially would have been good at that part. I like that's such a great James Gandolfini performance. He's so good at it. When he is talking about like that woman that he thinks Brad Pitt fucked, and Brad Pitt's like, again, how would I have fucked her? I was there at the same time as you. Like,
but you can almost see like the jealousy kind of picking up in him.
His acting, he is transported back to this time with this woman that he regrets. Talking about his wife, like, if she tries to divorce me this time, I'm just going to sign the papers. He's like, I can't go through with that again.
Then also, it sets up this great power dynamic between, like, Gandolfini's character is such a wild card that you don't know what he's going to do. He's going to kill that waiter, he's going to kill that hooker, is he going to kill Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt is never worried about Gandolfini's character. Not even for a hot second is he worried about him. And it shows that in that situation, Brad Pitt is the one to fear.
Yeah, Brad Pitt is like, and it's also like he almost does like, if he dies, so what? Like he's got such an.
I don't even think he's worried about it, man. I don't even think he thinks that it's a threat to him.
No, that's not what I was saying. But thanks for interrupting. I think he's got like such a nihilistic worldview that he's like, fuck it, who cares if I die? Like this world's fucked. Everyone's just getting by, getting what they can while they can, and then I'm going to fucking die. It's a beautiful sentiment. Thanks for listening to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon. And I finally watched Killing Them Softly.